I'm alone at night, she comes to me. That surfer girl from 63. I forgot that I'm dying, and I don't feel like I'm dying anymore. When the sun comes in, it warms my bed. I got that old surf city in my head. I finally got the explanation, and it's more mundane than you might think. Say goodbye now, 'cause there we go, goodbyes on Cocoa Beach. And she came to me from 63. Now almost everything makes sense to me. I'm not really dying, 'cause nobody dies on a Cocoa Beach. To me from 63. Young boys going howling at the moon. Hey, darling, sleeping on a black top. Hey, darling, running through the trees, honey. Hey, darling, I'm leaving for the next town. Less of my sins catches up with me. Three dead in a crash on the number 4. 2 witnesses below and up high. Not sure whose will be done. You can call me a centerfold, wondering why. Hey, darling, sleeping on a black top. Hey, darling, running through the trees, honey. Hey, darling, I'm leaving for the next town. Listen, catches up with me. Sweeter in this town. Could it be it's the same as the last? I swear to Christ I've seen your face somewhere, just as familiar as a bottle and a glass. Hey, come in, sleeping on a blacktop. Hey, come in, running through the trees, honey. Hey, come in, I'm leaving for the next town. Listen, my sins catches up with me. On the black top, hey, darling, running through the trees, honey. Hey, darling, I'm leaving for the next town. Once my sins catches up with me.
What's going on, everybody? All right. All right. Can we get a drink here? Can we get something to drink here?
What's going on, my friends? Stoner Man Houten here. What's happening?
It's a countdown to 4th of July weekend. We got a 3-day week. Oh shit! We got a 3-day weekend coming up. 3-day weekend. The 1, the 2, and the 3. We got a 3-day weekend coming up. Capzilla, what's up, man?
Hello, everybody. Hello. I've decided now.
I've decided that I want to go to Mexico. I've decided I want to go to Mexico. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call ICE on myself and get a free trip to Mexico. I figure that's the best way for me to get to Mexico. If I just call ICE on myself and then they come down, hey, okay, we got ya. I don't speak the English, but we know speak the English. Nobody speaks English here. Let's go to Mexico. Yes, I'm going to get a free... Yes, mentira, I'm going to get a free trip to Mexico. I'm going to call ICE on myself. I'm going to actually have them come down to my work. That way it looks more like legit, you know. I'm going to have them come to my work. And then I'll start running. Once you start running, then they know you're... See, that's the thing. Once you start running, that's how they know you're illegal. If everybody at the car wash would just keep washing the car, everything would be fine. But then again, you don't speak English, and then they're not gonna get you. Now listen. So I'm going. Look, Mentita, I'm gonna come down to Mexico. I'm gonna come visit you. I'm gonna call ICE on myself. I'm not gonna pay for the trip. I'm just gonna call ICE on myself. They'll send me down to Mexico. I'll hang out with you for a little bit, and then I'll get back to the border. I'll get into San Diego. I got some friends in San Diego. They can get me up to LA. Yeah, I totally sound like a Mexican, don't I?
I've got some friends in San Diego that can get me to LA.
That's totally what a Mexican would say.
They're just
just like an avalanche. I'll still be here tomorrow. I'll still be here tomorrow.
You're welcome. Hey, Dr. Pops, hold a wow. Hold a Dr. Pops, wow.
Dr. Pops.
Yay. I'm so glad you're here, Dr. Pops. What's going on, everybody? Stoner Man Houten. It is 6:50 p.m. on Tuesday. It is July 1st. What's going on, everybody? It is July 1st. Man, we are in the second half of this year. Think about that, people. The first 6 months of this year just went by like that, like that. The last 6 months of your goddamn life have went by in a fucking goddamn blink of an eye. And now, supposedly now, we are in the second half of the year where people say, oh, this is the fun half of this year. This is the fun half of the year. Now tell me right now, is the second half of the year the more fun half of the year?
What about the first 6 months of the year? They go, that's the bullshit part of the year. Well, the first 6 months of the year are the bullshit part of the years, and well, the second part of the year, well, that's where all the fun stuff is.
I don't know. Is that where the fun stuff is? The second part? Now look, it's July now. Look, before you know it, I'm going to be lighting the candles. Next thing you know, it's Hanukkah. I swear to God, it's going to be fucking Hanukkah. Hanukkah, light the menorah. I swear to God, it's going to, look, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to be lighting the menorah. I swear to God, dude, that's how fast it's going to be. I'm going to be lighting the menorah in 15 minutes. Son of a bitch. But until I light the menorah in 15 minutes, I want to talk to a great friend of mine named Dr. Pops. Dr. Pops, I saw on your Facebook page you went down to the Spawn Ranch, and here you are right here in front of the Life magazine cave, and you gave me credit in your post. You said if it wasn't for that other guy, I don't know, that Bruce Fox guy, if it wasn't for Bruce Fox, that you wouldn't have been able to find this site. And here you are looking you look fantastic, I'm not gonna lie. Look at you look fantastic. You look nice and trim. You look nice and thin and trim. You look good. And you're at the Life magazine cave. Look at you down there. You look great. Pops, I'm so glad you made it, man. I'm actually look, man, I'm not kidding, man. Look, honestly, I wish I could be there. I really wish I could have been there with you. But I'm glad that you got there. I'm actually glad that you got there, man. You got there. You've been wanting to get there. Now you got there. Now you're going to mark that off the bucket list right there. There you go. That's what life's about, man. Life is about checking off the list. I said checking off the list, you know. So it's about checking things off the list. You know, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And it's great that every now and then you get to check things off the list. All right, been there, done that. Next. Pops, love you, man.
What is it, Pops? Yes, Pops. There. Well, Pops, thank you.
Pops, you want to come in for a drink? You want to come in? Do you have time for a beer? You have time for a drink? Tell us about Spawn Ranch, walking down there. You want to come in and talk about it? I'm going to go in the water. right, so let me set this up. Dr. Pops is going to come in and talk to us a little bit here. Hold on a second. Let me move things around. I'm going to have to set the audio up. One second. Here we go. All right. So let me give me Pops in here. Hey, hold on a second. All right.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Let me just get the audio, get rid of that echo. All right. Let me turn this up a little bit. All right, Dr. Pops, how are you, my friend?
Wonderful. It's great to see you. And how are you doing?
You know what, Pops? Let me just say this. I'm actually doing very well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm doing very, very, very well. Work is just, they love me at work. I do my job well. I'm fine. I love my boss. I love my coworkers. Everything's actually pretty cool. I've come into a little bad luck with just the hot water heater of my place. Unfortunately, went out, and right now I don't have a hot water heater. So, but it's summertime though, so right now I'm kind of forced into cold showers, which is fine, which for now. But when winter comes, I'm gonna have to kind of fix that.
For now, it's
Right now
we've
it's okay.
I won't go into detail, but some health things. I've kind of stabilized things. I think need a bunch more tests, but that knocked me out for quite a few weeks, and then we've had plumbing problems too.
Right.
But on top of that, we got out and we left. I'm sorry, I didn't give a lot of notice because I wasn't sure this trip had been delayed, put off twice. I didn't know if it would really happen.
Right.
My daughter is one of those who has, well, how shall I say? My wife, my daughter, and son, we were all together. My daughter has one of these people who, since she's so nice to have paid for the plane tickets and all this, she has very tight set itineraries.
Right.
And they generally revolve around very good restaurants.
Right.
And anyway, there was a point where I had where she took her mother for a haircut, a nail, or something in Woodland Hills. And she lives in Woodland Hills. She lives right across the street from that Westfield Topanga thing.
Right, so she's over there on like Victory and Topanga.
She's in like, I can't believe she's got a small apartment, but it's in this. God, it's like a luxury hotel residence called the Q. It's just, it's amazing. It is amazing. Right. I saw a half a dozen cars that were $400,000 to $500,000 in the garage.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking there? Is that some wine?
Wine. I have no idea how she swings it. She's got a good job. Who knows? I don't ask. But I do obey her itinerary since she is so kind.
Right.
But I did have about 3 hours. And I said to my son, you take the car and it's only 5 or 6 miles away. Let's go up there. And I said,
wait, real quick. So this is just you and your son.
Yeah. And I promised that I wouldn't overdo it.
Right.
I promised everyone I wouldn't overdo it.
Right.
If it was too tough. So we drove up there, got out of the car, just like you said. I was just the way followed everything you did. And that you suggested. And we walked down and I looked, and it was like 3:00 in the afternoon. It was the warmest day we were there. It was like 90 degrees, but 90 degrees in Los Angeles, even in San Fernando Valley, is nothing like 90 degrees in Iowa, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't difficult at all. Now, 115 degrees is,
And you know what? Wait, can you explain that though? Because I think a lot of people on the East Coast don't understand that. It's because of the dry heat. You don't have that dry heat that in Iowa. You're just used to sweating all the time in that heat. And you're right.
It was. I didn't even break a sweat. It was.
Exactly.
Well, back here at home, the temperatures were 95 to 101 with the what do you call that, misery index at about 108 to 110. It was
humidity, Yeah, I'm a bit
it
of a
was
hell.
awful while we were gone. We were so lucky to be there. I mean, that was the only day it hit 90. The rest of the days it was 79, 80, 83, 85. You know, it was very comfortable
All right,
because
so go back. So go back. You park on Iverson Road. Sorry about
yeah,
that. You
parked on Iverson Road. We went over there, and then I went to where that first step down.
Right now, right. How'd
That
that
was a
go?
little bit daunting. I didn't know
Right.
if I could make it, but my son was behind me. He kind of held my belt and helped me, and I got down. Of course, after that it was easy, although I didn't know what was coming. So I
Right.
walked like a cross between a child and an old man,
Right.
very carefully, very daintily, very cautiously each step of the way, because I wasn't sure what we would run into. I
Did
was
you see the
watching.
poison oak? Like, you know how I talk about the poison oak? You saw
Yeah,
the poison oak?
I was watching for the poison oak. I said, "You watch for the rattlesnakes. I'll watch for the poison oak."
Right.
And
Very good.
we made our way down there, and he remarked at how beautiful and cool it was down there,
Yes.
at how
Yes.
different it was, that shaded area, and how absolutely lovely it is.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
completely.
told him the story about, whether who knows how the family under Sandra Good said she knew of the place. Bobby Beausoleil and Gypsy had worked on that movie, and I showed him where some of that movie was made. And then we made it to the to that thing that I said, take a photo. I'm not big on photographs, right? Rest of the family is. I'm not. I just said, hey, catch a couple of photos of me here. Then I went over by the tree that we talk about, and then I found the Manson rock. I did take a picture of the Manson rock, but unfortunately, it was more of a picture of my finger. That's because I am not practiced with these cameras on the telephones.
Obviously, but the picture that we're looking at right now, though, your son took, though, right?
My son took
Obviously.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Obviously,
said, "Oh, that's okay." I said, "I only need one or two photos. It's just no, we don't need to go nuts with it."
it really looks like. I mean, you're right. It looks like it was just an absolutely beautiful day. It looks perfect.
Oh,
Clear,
it was. It might have been 90 degrees up top, but in there it was pleasant.
And that's what
Then
I've
when we
always.
got done, I told him Stoner also has directed us up to that Browns Canyon or Gypsy's Waterfall. So we drove over there, but we didn't. I just went to the top and I
Right.
looked, and I directed down, and
Right.
told
Yeah,
him, I told him about one of your videos. He had seen it where you kind of rolled down, or something.
right.
But of course, they've cleaned that up. They've cleaned up the
Right.
garbage and things.
Good.
And then I showed him about all of the new developments, and I explained to him how in the old days they they could get dune buggies from the ranch up there.
Right.
But of course, that's all. I said the only way. Intrepid, not the only way, but the best way that I had seen that intrepid people like Sadie or people who have a lot of energy and smarts, they kind of come up the stream to reach there. But that was it. It was a couple 3 hours, and the only other time I really wandered off on my own, it was like 15 minutes. We were at that Topanga Westfield Mall looking it over, and I looked at one of the screen maps, and I realized I was at the northwest corner of that mall by a Macy's or something, I forget what. And I said, you know what, family, take off, only be a few minutes. And I slipped out the side door near a garage, and I walked to the street outside the mall, and a half a block away was where the Los Angeles River rises. You saw
Right.
that photograph I had
Yeah.
where the Arroyo, Calabasas, and the Bell
They all
stream come
meet.
together,
Right.
and they come together there because I know it's a weird thing, but I like to know water. I like to know about water. I like to know where it comes from, where it goes. And the Los Angeles River has that crazy route through Los Angeles.
Right. Through Los Angeles, through San Fernando Valley, through Los Angeles. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
and then over to Burbank, and then past Dodger Stadium, and then it just East LA straight to Long Beach. And the day before, we had been at the Queen Mary,
Oh,
My
nice.
son
Oh, you made it
really
down there,
wanted
didn't
to
you?
see the Queen Mary. He
I've
really
been there
wanted,
before. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but that's where the LA River empties.
Right. That's where. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Queen
I
Mary
had,
is a. Go ahead.
but
I'm
I
sorry. Go ahead.
wanted to see the source.
Right.
And it was, yeah, he was nuts about that. Well, I don't know. My father went to World War II in Europe on that ship as one of like
Really?
12,000 people packed in. And so
On the
I think that meant a lot to him. For my own father, he described World War. He hated every moment of his service. To be honest, my father wasn't big on in wars or stuff, but so it meant a lot to him, a lot more than to me. My daughter and I, however, we separated on the Queen Mary, and my daughter does know how to pass an hour um, with a couple of cold drinks on a nice deck. Let everybody else run around and take pictures, but we will just sit here with our mixed drinks.
Yeah, no, that's you damn right, pops. No, that's great that you got down to Long Beach, man. I've done that before. Sadie and I were actually in Long Beach. I think it was like 2020. It's about 5 years ago, and we went and did the tour, and we went on the boat out there and cruised out there, and it was actually really cool, man. I mean, Long Beach really is cool, but we couldn't get into the aquarium because at the time of COVID, you had to make an appointment, and we didn't realize that you had to call first. You couldn't just show up, so it was one of those times. And yeah, it was weird.
We had to make 2 trips to the Queen Mary. My son really wanted to see it. The first trip, we couldn't get in because it was closed and everything was closed around it. And we saw these thousands and thousands of people streaming. Apparently, there were 4 or 5 stages. It was Los Angeles City's biggest June gay pride concert.
Wow. Oh, God.
And you talk about a colorful bunch of happy people.
Yeah.
Gay happy. I mean, thousands and thousands of gay folks. It was hilarious. And my daughter was laughing the next 2 or 3 days. She had talked to several of her bartenders or whatnot, that had been there. she knew quite a few people, as it turned out, who had been there.
Okay. Real quickly, I just want to get back to your experience back over at the Spawn Ranch thing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. So you have if I'm correct me if I'm wrong anytime. So you had like a couple hours free. So you and your son, okay, then we're going to get in the car. We're going to drive over here to Chatsworth. Now, when you probably came off the 118 off of Topanga. I mean,
off of 27, off of Topanga. Yeah, we didn't go to the 118. And well,
no. You're coming on. Oh, you're. No, I know where you're coming. Okay, so you're coming from her house from Topanga Canyon. Yeah. So you're okay. And that would So you're driving down Topanga the way Tex Watson would have been driving Dennis Wilson's Ferrari down Topanga, right towards the ramp. Yeah. Now, so you passed. Obviously, you passed Topanga and Devonshire, where on the corner there, if you made a right turn, would have been the Munch Box.
I saw it a couple of times.
Okay. Now, when you made the left turn at the light, you went to the light, obviously, on Santa Susana Pass Road. Yeah. Made a left. Now, did you know about the Shorty Shea spot?
Oh, yeah. I showed him that. Okay, I said, slow up. You don't need to park. But I pointed out to him and the steep hill down the railroad. And then we went. He went a little bit past Iverson. I said, don't worry about it. I want to show you the, what is it? The escape place or whatever they call it.
The in-case place.
Yeah, the in-case place, which is just off there. I showed him the in-case place. Nice. And we went around towards where there was the ball pit, which I said was the back cabins or whatever they called it.
Right.
Yeah, which they spent most of their time probably. And I
they did. Yes, they did, because they were underage girls and they couldn't be in the front. And yes, it'd be easier to have them there because the cops could pull into the ranch at any given time.
Yeah, that's where he was arrested with Schramm, I believe. Of course, he got, whatever. I forget how he got away with that. But that was in that weird time when they picked him up with her. They didn't arrest him. They let her go. I think she convinced him she was of age or something.
Right.
But yeah, and then he kind of turned around, doubled back to Iverson Road and parked. And then we went across. Yeah. Followed your instructions to the letter.
Did you? I don't suppose you noticed any of the stickers on the rails.
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Noticed one of yours. There was a bunch of others and graffiti here and there. But it was
Oh
very
God.
pleasant.
Yeah.
It was very pleasant. He did, because the steep, it was relatively steep, and I fell, and one thing is another, and I've been ill.
Wait,
So
wait. Did you fall on the way down or the way
no,
up?
no. I fell here in Iowa a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
A
Oh,
few
I thought
months
you
ago.
meant.
So I'm
So
far more careful,
Okay.
and I knew that I would get into huge trouble if I came back with torn clothes or bloodied,
Right. Good Lord.
So I'm
yeah.
saying to myself,
Right.
no, Pat, you're going to be very, very careful here. No injury, nothing out of the
No.
ordinary.
But let me just say this. Though. Here's the funny part, though. If you had some young kids or anybody else, YouTubers, and you're leaving as they're getting there, they may suspect as being somebody from the Manson family because of your age, honestly. And why would somebody of you be visiting this spot? I'm just saying, Pops, I'm not kidding. You're
Yeah.
if you're coming out, people will just be like, oh, wait, what's going on here? They may suspect because it's happened. Because members of the Manson family have visited, and they are you're the age of, you are their age.
Yeah.
So I mean, people are like, wait a minute, who the hell is that? I mean,
Yeah, a few cars did slow and stop as we were walking along the road.
Because exactly. Because
Yeah.
I would say I've always told people that too. On tours, if you ever see, and I hate to say it like the way it is, but if you ever see senior citizens at Spawn Ranch, look, there's only a couple reasons why they're here. Either they were here before back in the day and they're just revisiting, or maybe they just happen to be in the case. In your case, they were involved in the case. But yeah, you never know. And so that's the one thing
It was very nice, very pleasant. Now, one thing, I did not venture very deep into the old ranch area itself.
Right.
It was pretty well overgrown. And I did not really want to fight my way through some of those thickets to wander around in there. We kind of went across the road a little bit up on that rocky part to look over, where that rocky part where they, near the church.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, and I pointed out to him that where the corral was and that sort of a thing.
Right.
We inspected. I pointed up to. I had a pretty good idea of where the George Spawn house was, and one thing and another. We explored a few. On deeper in a little bit, not as far as the baby caves because I told him that was private property. I think it is. I'm not sure.
It is, and it'd be impossible for you to get to, Pops. You're not.
Yeah, we didn't go that far. I just told him we would stay short of that.
Honestly, Pops, just real quickly, I just think that the fact that you got down to the Life magazine cave, when I first saw that picture on Facebook, I was actually pretty impressed because I'm like, wow, because I was already thinking, and you said it already, that first step. When you saw that first step, you're like, okay, wait a minute. Oh shit. Okay, now this is going to be a little bit different. I can understand why your son would have you by your belt because I got you. It's exactly. I mean that probably is one of the hardest parts right there. Honestly, it really is. It's just that one area.
That was the only difficult.
Right.
Now
exactly.
I didn't know my first time down, so I was extremely careful, more careful than I needed to be because I didn't know. But that was once I got past there, and then while we were down there, he found a sturdy branch and broke it up, and so I had a stick to help me. And of course, that made it super easy to come back up.
Walking stick.
It was the trip back up was very easy, but it was pleasant. It was 90 degrees, but it was not hot. Then we went to the other place. We didn't spend much time there. They had a wonderful fruit, people from Oxnard or whatever were selling. They had a fruit market.
Oh yeah.
Right there at where the 118 and DeSoto.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Under. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Right there, DeSoto at the top of the 118.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
they're right underneath the freeway. They're right underneath the freeway. They
yeah.
have all these dams right there at the top.
Oh, the strawberries and
Yeah,
mangoes. Ah,
yeah. Pops,
anyway.
it's California. Come on, look, it's
Yeah,
California. Give us
yeah, we
more.
had
That's
to
ours.
stop for
That's
that.
ours. That's
We had
ours.
to, we had to
If
stop.
anything that we have here is the produce, and even though you may think like, oh, we're buying that produce off the side of the road, trust me, that's still California grown produce, and it's kicks ass. Whether it's the cherries, the mangoes, the fucking watermelon, whatever
Yeah.
it is, trust me, this is California. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
delicious.
that
And
shit's
the one
good.
thing about my daughters, all of this massive amount of food we ate, and
Good.
we ate massive amounts of food at all kinds of expensive, or
Yeah.
even some non. Anyway, she knew where the good places are for food.
Did
But
you have duck?
every
Yes,
bottle
yes
of
or no?
wine was
Oh
good.
God.
Every bottle of wine.
Did you eat
And
duck? Yes or no? Duck? Yes or no?
what?
Duck? Did you eat duck?
No, I didn't. No, wait.
No duck?
Wait.
You didn't
No.
take. You didn't go to one of those
Actually,
kind
the most
Really?
memorable meal I had was what is that place in Studio City? There's kind of a little mall there. It starts with a G. Grove, the Grove, right?
That sounds familiar. Yes.
Yeah, the Grove. A couple 3 blocks from the Grove was a small Italian place. She had a bunch of her friends who she wanted us to meet. Wonderful folk. And we ate. I will say that was the most memorable meal I had. It was an oxtail bolognese ragu.
What the hell is that?
With pasta.
Oxtail?
Oxtail. Oh, the flavor. Oh my God. You know, oxtail, they cook it for, 30 hours or something. And that was so outstanding. Stoner, I got to tell you, I'm paranoid about flying, not about the airplanes, but about what I eat and drink before I get on one, because I don't want to get.
I thought the whole point was to have a few drinks, so that way you don't have to worry about that shit.
Well, sometimes your stomach, okay? And I'm having some gastric problems. That's right. That's one reason I was ill for several weeks. So I was worried about it. But our last night, she took us to Santa Barbara, and she took us to a restaurant out there by the ocean.
Love Santa Barbara.
And I'm trying to think, what am I going to eat here? Because we're getting on the airplane early tomorrow for a day of flying all over to get back to Iowa. And I saw they had sea urchin for sale.
Oh, God. Bob's why?
I had never eaten sea urchin before.
And now you want to do it right before you get on the plane.
But I had no idea what it might do to my digestion.
Right. Well, let's find out now.
It was a close call, but Stoner, I said, what the fuck? What the hell? I've never had it. When will I be back in Santa Barbara?
Exactly.
For a plate of fresh sea urchin.
You know what, Pops? You know, God damn it. What? Hold on a second here. We're going to stop because you're right, Pops. God damn, you are right. Do it right at that moment. If that's what it was at that moment and that's what you wanted to do, then you know what? Don't let it stop you from doing it. If there is something that you want to try and you're like, fuck it, I want to try this. I've always wanted to try it. Don't let something that will make you, look, try it. What you did was absolutely perfect. You went and you did it, man. And I'm glad you did.
The rest of them looked at me like I was crazy because none of them had ever eaten it.
I would have thought you were nuts. Right. I would have thought you were nuts too, but
yeah, everybody else looked at me and I said, to hell with it. I'm going to have sea urchin, which of course turns out to be not a great deal. Although I'm thinking of starting a YouTube, site or thing to try to sell people before getting on airplanes to eat sea urchins, because there aren't
I don't know how many subscribers you're going to get to that channel, Pop.
There were 6 of them, but they were the plate. I mean, it was like, I don't know, $40 for 6 of them, but there was no side dishes. It was just a sea urchin edible part on top of a raw scallion on top of a lime wedge or a lime.
Let me ask you this, Pops. What do you think would be the proper side dish to a sea urchin? What, rice, potatoes, what a nice little pea soup.
Probably rice would be, but they didn't serve it. That was all it was. Now
Maybe couscous. How about couscous? Maybe a little side of couscous.
well, yeah, maybe, yeah. Sea urchins are so umami in flavor. They're
I mean,
pretty neutral in flavor, and their texture. Well, sea urchin, the edible part of, of course, they take the edible part out. You don't have to take apart a sea urchin, thank God. They take it out for you, and it's how do you
so
say?
how? Honestly, how is it served?
It's served the sea urchin edible part on top of a raw scallop, on top of a thin wedge of lime, with a sauce, because the flavor is so. The flavor is kind of neutral. The texture is, well, the edible part of a sea urchin, apparently, I didn't know this until later.
All right.
Apparently, the edible part are the gonads, the semen or the eggs or whatever. And I've never tasted
down the gonads
as such.
You never tasted semen before?
I've never tasted as such, but it is it's softer than fish eggs, but it's somewhere in what I suspect that range would be. But it's a very interesting dish, and I have eaten it once. But it was like I said, Stoner, I was at this situation. I was thinking, no, you shouldn't do this. No, you should order something else. No, you should. I said, no, I've never had sea urchins. I don't get if this is going to cause the airplane to have to turn around and land.
Okay, maybe with that's a little bit different. But here's the only reason why I'll disagree with you is because you're on vacation, Bob, and you're on vacation, and this is the time. Like and I understand what you're saying. You know, the daughter did this and that, and so you have to follow a certain protocol. It's the same thing when I used to go on Manson blog tours, and we're doing this and we're doing this, and at a certain time we're leaving 9 a.m. The bus is going to pick us up here, and we're going to do this, and this. We're going to eat this, that, and I'm like, oh, that's fine, and that's totally fine. But you're right; they do give you like, okay, now you've got 2 to 3 hours where you can do whatever you want, and you obviously took advantage of the time to do something very cool, man. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. When I saw the photo of you, I'm going to put it here. Let me put the photo up here. When I saw this photo for the first time, let me get rid of this. This photo right here of you, I thought to myself, awesome, dude. This is fucking awesome. Wow, he made it. The only thing that could be better, I wish I could be there with you. I mean, just wow. But I'm so glad that you made it there. This is a great photo. I love this photo, man. And I couldn't
schedule anything because it was all up, and it was just there were only a few times. Now, when I did have free time, Stoner, but it was like
but there's other stuff you want to see. There's a lot of
between 6:30 and 9:30 in the mornings, because I get up earlier than everyone else.
Exactly, I do too.
No matter how many bottles of wine I've had the night before, I still get up earlier than everyone else.
I'm with you on that, Pops. Knock on wood, Pop. I'm with you on that one.
I would sit in a courtyard or a breezeway in her place, and we spent a couple nights at a hotel too. And I would write up the day before. I'm not a huge photography picture. I tend to write out. If you'll see on my Facebook page,
I saw a picture of you on the airplane. I was going to say, I saw a picture of you on the airplane writing.
Yeah, writing with one hand, a glass of wine in the other. A couple.
Right. Was that your wife took the picture? Was it your?
Yeah, she took the picture, and it was. We were. It was. Now, by the way, I'll tell you something else. On the way there, remember I've talked to you before about these books I read by the Southern California kind of groupie girl, Eve Babbitts. I think I've mentioned her before. Well, she talked about Ojai. When she was a kid, her father and mother would take her to Ojai because he was a classical musician with the LA Philharmonic Orchestra, and he was instrumental in some of those early Ojai classical music festivals in the 50s and 60s. Anyway, she wrote so glowingly of Ojai up in the mountains I mentioned to my daughter, and on our way to Santa Barbara, she turned off, and I said, what do you do? Where are you? And she took us up to Ojai. And I want to tell you, if I would ever hit the lottery, that's where I'm going to go live.
Ojai, absolutely beautiful in Ojai. Ojai, I know what you're talking about, Pops. It is. It's absolutely fucking beautiful. I got the picture right here of you on. Look, there you are.
Yeah, there I am. There I am.
On the airplane. Left-handed, there doing your thing. You got your wine in one hand, and you got the left hand because you're left-handed. You got the pen in the other, man. Right there.
Oh yeah, the wine is turbulence, right? They say turbulence.
This picture to me says I swear to God, this picture when I look at this, it says the pen is mightier than the sword. This is what this picture says to me, man. This is what I'm not kidding. That's what that picture says to me, man.
Anyway,
real quickly, if you don't mind. What were you writing about right there? Do you know? Or
I was recording the previous day's experience, where we were. What we ate, what we did. Yeah, that's what I would do. And then I'll type it all up at home. Sure. I will type it all up over a few days. I mean, it's my other people take pictures. I took a handful, but that's not what I prefer to write things out to remember them to, we didn't buy anything. We didn't buy souvenirs. I bought postcards. God, I'll have to send you a postcard, won't I? I bought a few postcards. I bought hats. We hit a hat store in Santa Barbara, and I got a new beret because the other one was wearing out. The kids bought all these hats.
Explain to me this picture of you right here. Hold on a second here. Let me just put this up here. Okay, what do you? Okay, it looks like you're. What are you? Okay, what are we getting here? What is this here? Okay, first of all, what are you getting here, and who's the girl?
Well, that's my daughter. That's my daughter.
Okay, that's your daughter. And then, so what are you doing here?
Yeah, I was. We were at this market store in the Grove, which is at Studio City or wherever, Hollywood, wherever it is. We were in this kind of market area of the Grove, and I was in it's a French store. And I was looking for canned fish because I like canned fish. And of course, I was looking for snails. God. I was looking all over for snails in the can, but then it was way over in another part on the top shelf where they had the snails. So I brought back a can of snails.
That's why that's where they keep the snails, is on the top shelf.
Yeah, I'm looking all over. Finally, way over here were the snails.
That's the part that blows my mind, is that the fuck that you found it. I love that. I love that. You no matter how much hiding they do, you can't hide certain shit.
Yeah, they've got a canned fish section, and it's got like 80 kinds of octopus and 30 kinds of tuna and more kinds of, everything you could think of, canned fish. But I'm going, where the hell are the snails? There got to be some snails somewhere. Finally, way over here on the top shelf, way out of the way, there were snails. Thank God.
Okay, I got another picture. One more picture. I want you to explain this one to me. And tell me right here. Tell me this picture here. What's going on in this picture? Where are you? And what's going on? What are you eating?
Oh, this was at that place I told you about that had that great oxtail ragu.
Oh, okay. This is where you got the oxtail. Okay. This
was an Italian place. And our daughter ordered, me and my wife have birthdays in June. We were supposed to be out there that week, but we couldn't make it. We were a week later. And there was another guy, a guy that she knows. My God, he was sitting there talking about a $125 million real estate deal or something. But anyway, we were talking all together, and he had a birthday. So our daughter, that is a lemon olive oil cake for my birthday.
A lemon olive oil cake.
A lemon olive oil cake.
I've never even heard of that.
Well, it was quite tasty, believe me.
And what's the wine? What kind of wine are you drinking right there?
Oh, my son ordered 3 bottles. I can't remember. I think that was a Pinot Noir. I think so. He kept ordering bottle after bottle. of wine. Yeah, this is so funny. He's he's more of a whiskey drinker, and for years he didn't care for wine as we would go places, um, as we would go to different places over the years and order the restaurants. He would watch me enjoy wine, and he started doing it. And now I think he's even more than me. He'll be the one that'll order the second or third bottle at a meal.
Oh
Um,
God. Okay. Now
I
what's
will
this?
say the wines
Wait.
the wines were just magnificent. Oh, this was what was I think this was what my wife got, tiramisu or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, tiramisu. Oh,
Yeah, for her birthday, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what she got was the tiramisu. Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. She
Nice.
likes that. It's okay, but anyway, those were the things that we enjoyed doing. But food. Oh my God, Stoner, the food. When we got home, the first day my wife got home, she said something about eating. She went out to the garden and cut some lettuce and cucumber, whatever. And she said, "I just want some normal, regular food."
Right. No, that's fine. But you know what, though, Pops? When you're on but don't you think that when you're on vacation, it's a little bit different? Those rules kind of don't apply.
I guess you're right, Stoner, but
Hey, come on, Pop. You're on
but
vacation.
every
Come
single
on.
night, every single. I mean,
Well,
we
when you
had.
it's not going to be every Pops. Even if you do it for 1 week and you spend 1 week, it's not. This is not the way your life is. This is that's not the way you live your life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, when I have it all written down, I'll remember all the places we ate. She took us to a Vietnamese place that
awesome.
had an outstanding bowl of soup. She took us to. Oh my God!
I'm surprised you didn't have duck. I really am. I really am surprised you didn't have duck. I know how much you love duck.
I know it was. She took us to. Now wait a minute. I might have had. No, we went to what is there, a Huntington Beach or Hermosa or something? Hermosa.
Pops, I saw your Facebook stuff. You don't have any duck on there, trust me.
Yeah, we had some of that stuff. I forget what I had there. I think it might have been mussels and pasta. She took us to a place called Lure, Lure. Her favorite seafood place. It's way up in Porter Ranch. Which means it's a new place because Porter Ranch is pretty new, right? And I had a remarkable meal there. Yeah, she is just one of these people that she scouts out excellent places to eat, and of course we won't even talk about the money spent on these meals. Good God. I don't think any went over $1,000, but several came close.
Now, hold on a second, though. Now, most of the time, and you know this is a fact, that the bill is so high because of the booze. Was it because of the booze or was it because of the food? Because you know a bill can. I don't care if it doesn't matter how much food you order. The bill, in my opinion, is always because they get you in the drinks. I think they get you in the drinks.
Oh, yeah.
They get you the drinks. So I don't know what those bottles are costing you, the wine and stuff. I'm just saying, though, that might be the reason why those bills are so high because of those.
The bottles of wine were not exorbitant. Really, we had some fine wine for like under $70 a bottle.
Right.
There were some really good wines in that range. Yeah, I was impressed by the quality.
They're all California wines too,
yeah,
right?
They're all California wines.
Yeah, that's our thing too.
The only drinks that really disappointed me were the sangrias. I don't know what Californians are doing with sangrias. I don't know. Basic Mexican sangria is fine, but Californians think they have to be juiced up in weird ways. And I hardly had any beer, but when I did order, there were a couple times I ordered a beer. I think I had 2 beers, but I just ordered Mexican beer because Mexican beer is always good. The Mexicans cannot make bad beer, I don't think.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, and it was well, I wanted to stop and eat at the Munchbox. We stopped with my daughter. She had some kind of a personal trainer or so. One morning when the rest of them were asleep, I went with her to Northridge, and so she was on Devonshire, right,
Right.
to go out there. Uh, and I don't know. Come to think of it, I had a very while she was doing whatever she did, I had a
Wait a minute.
very,
Wait,
very
Pops. Hold on a sec.
half bottle of rosé.
Wait, okay. Wait a minute. So, did you go to the Munchbox to have food, or yes or no?
No, I didn't. We
Okay,
stopped,
you
but
stopped, but you didn't get any food.
I wasn't hungry, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I pointed out to her, and I pointed across the street where Sadie had, I pointed out to her and my son both. On our way back from DeSoto, we crossed at Devonshire, and I pointed all that out to him too. So we were by there a couple of times.
Nice.
And I know Izzy lives somewhere near there, right?
Yes, somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, he lives somewhere in that area. But yeah, we spent quite a bit of time. Oh, and we went to the new Getty up on the hill. That was the highlight.
Nice.
Yeah, the new Getty.
The new one, right? Nice.
That was stupendous. The kids, we all enjoyed the art because we like that. Now it doesn't. Okay, we didn't see everything, but we saw a good share of it. And it can't compare to the Metropolitan in New York's collection, but it has marvelous stuff in there. And the amazing thing is the architecture, the building and the grounds, Stoner. I don't think I have ever experienced such a beautiful building and grounds, gardens connected together. The planting, the trees, the shrubberies, the orchids, and then the buildings themselves, which were brilliantly designed. When you're outdoors in the garden area, I don't care which way you glance, you're going to be overcome by tremendous natural beauty that is only the buildings lean into that beauty rather than distract from it. It's hard to describe. I have never been in a place because it's a huge place, right? And some of the most workaday, simple little walkways or drainage areas that a building would need, like that, they are so well appointed with landscaping and floral arrangements that the amount of money that must go in to the upkeep of even the tiniest details of that place, it's just astonishing. Yeah, I would urge anyone to spend an afternoon at especially in summertime. I don't know what it's like in wintertime. I imagine it's beautiful there too, given California's weather. But we were there in the first week of summer, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. And we knew my wife would enjoy that because she likes photographs. She doesn't care for museums, but oh God, could she love all that? I will say there is a small Rembrandt, not small. There's a Rembrandt in there that's Philly. The first time when I saw that's the first Rembrandt I've ever seen that I realized, my God, this man was a genius. I have seen 2 or 3 Rembrandts in my life, and whatever. I just walked past, looked at it. But the Getty has a Rembrandt that's on that mythological theme of the rape of Europa. And that painting, it just your mouth drops when you see that. So they have some marvelous treasures there. My wife more prefers the antiquities, but they're down in the old Getty, the one that's in Palisades.
Right, the Palisades, right, which is probably burned.
Yeah, well, no, it's okay. It survived. Oh, that was the other thing we saw. We did have a meal one night at Paradise Cove.
Oh God! So you drove past some of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh God, it was awful.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. You
It
drove.
was
Yeah.
awful. But we got to Paradise Cove, and by the way, that was a surprisingly good meal. I wasn't expecting much from there,
Wait, so I'm
really at
just curious.
all.
So I'm just curious that drive that you took because I know that area. So from where you were to Paradise Cove, how much destruction was there? I mean,
A
it
lot,
was.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, uh, there was
Wow.
from roughly the 27, right? The Topanga Canyon, the Topanga Beach.
Right to Panga Beach, right?
We moved up coast, and there was absolute devastation on the ocean side. The other side wasn't too bad until we got towards where Duke's restaurant or whatever used to be or is.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. Right.
That was on both sides of the road at that point. In fact, driving down 27 Topanga Canyon, the Canyon Road down to Topanga Beach.
Right.
When we got to the first half was okay. When we got to the lower third of that, you could see the devastation of trees and shrubberies, uh, blackened, wrecked. Now we went back up Malibu Canyon Drive towards what is it, Mission Hills? Is that it? We went up that, and that didn't have quite the damage that we saw, but I think that got wrecked like 5 years ago, right? As my memory serves.
Right.
But we went on number 27 2 or 3 times. We went up the Malibu Canyon Drive once, yeah, it was. Daughter had us on schedule a lot of the time, and I'm not taking that away. It was a big deal for her to have us out there, and so I was very pleased. And her choices of food places were all top notch. But that's what she is. She and her friends. That's what they do. They just go to places, and they just.
If you can afford it, good for them.
Yeah, if if they hear about things and great food. So we were fed to the point that when I came to the last night and the small spare plate of simple sea urchins, I was relieved that it wasn't loaded with a bunch of stuff. I was very relieved because it was something I could handle. It was are sea urchins the tastiest or the best thing in the world? No, not at all. But it's the thing you got to try once, right? And I would eat it again, especially before getting on an airplane. I'd eat it again.
Oh God, pop stuff.
I would have liked to have been able to. Everybody had things they kind of wanted to see. Your daughter had things she wanted us to see. My son wanted to see that boat out on Long Beach. Yeah. I forget what my wife wanted to see. Little Saigon, right? In Orange County.
Nice. Yeah.
For me, if we had time, I wanted to slip away to the Spawn Ranch and up to DeSoto.
Right.
And the other thing I did want to see was the origin of the LA River. I'm sorry, that's stupid.
But you saw it. It's not stupid if that's something you want to see, man. I get it, man.
Yeah, and I will say this about Spawn Ranch and the origin of the LA River. Neither one of them had gift shops.
No, they don't.
Yeah, you weren't at gift shops. The one gift shop that I would have liked to have gone to, we never thought of doing it, was at the Getty Museum, however. Yeah, that's the one. Sometimes it's hard to find postcards out there. I finally did find a shop in Ojai that had a lot of postcards.
Nobody sends postcards anymore, Pops.
I know, I do. I've got to send you one, I guess.
Yeah, I know you do. Please send me. I actually do want you to send me one, please. But that's the thing, though, because I've actually thought about the same thing too, and wanted to send a postcard. But I mean, the only honestly, you know where I found postcards. This is going to sound weird at swap meets.
Oh, really?
At swap
Because
meets.
I was asking
Swap meets.
people around and they'd give me a blank stare, like, what's a postcard,
Exactly. What's a postcard?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it's not like in the day when people, hey, I'm in Hawaii, I'm in Jamaica, I'm in the Caribbean, I'm in London, I'm in, or wherever, and you just, a postcard is just supposed to be like to let you know where I'm at. Hello, I'm just here. It's not a
Yeah.
letter.
Yeah. No,
A
it's not a
post, a
letter.
post, exactly. It's a postcard is not a letter. It's just a reminder that I'm here. And you're right. They've gotten away from that. Now, don't you think though, pops? Though, if for some odd reason, let's just say, I end up in Rome and I end up at the fucking at the Colosseum. Now, don't you think I could just text you a picture though on my phone? Hey, pops, guess what? Guess where I'm at? I'm in
Well,
Rome. I'm at
yeah,
the Colosseum.
that's
Yeah,
that's
there you
the
go. I
modern
mean, wow.
thing. That's a modern thing, but to me, there's nothing like buying a postcard,
I know.
walking over, finding the nearest post office. By the way, Ojai Post Office is a very
It's
old
personal,
building.
more
It's very
personal.
quaint, very nice.
It's
And
personal.
then chat to the clerk and mail the same thing. The post office in San Francisco, well, the one at Washington Square in San Francisco was pleasant to visit. But it's just the way I am. I come from an age.
Pops, I'm actually on your side on this because even though you're older than me, I get what you're saying though, and I get it because you're the last of that generation, and guess what? I'm the last of the generation that knows about your generation and what you're talking about, and I totally get it. See, I get it. You are absolutely right. The whole experience about what you're talking about. Plus, it's a lot more personal. I have a letter from you. I have a letter from which I still have. I have a nice letter from you. Thank you so much, and it's great. And I can't wait to get the postcard from you too. And send it. You have my address too. If you don't have my address, I'll
Oh, well, I don't know if I
text
do or not, but I'm
I'll-
fine.
or I
You
could
can send it to me.
Yeah, well, I may not have your phone number now because I had to get a new phone and I couldn't get it from my other phone. So I may have to get a hold of you on Facebook or something like that on Messenger.
Oh, my daughter tried to change my telephone or something out there. Something weird happened and she couldn't do it while we were there. And I said to myself quietly, thank God, I don't have to mess with the new
I
phone.
may not. I don't.
Speaking of letters, this is a letter I received from a 14-year-old kid, a grandniece.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
this is a nice long letter and it was so nice to get this in the mail. She's talking about her mother doesn't really want to be reading dystopian novels, but that's what she likes to read. So, she was telling me about that. That's a generational thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, it's just, yeah, I still try to encourage people to write notes and letters, postcards, that sort of a thing. It was just, I had a remarkably good week. She lives in a far more upscale place than I imagined it would be. So she's obviously doing well enough.
Right. And she has access to something like that in the education and like that. She sounds very, very smart.
Yeah, she's living in a very posh spot. Very near the Warner Center. Very near the Warner. And I don't know if she'll be. It may be priced out because there's a little development across the street you might have heard of called the Village.
Yes.
It's just south of the Topanga Mall.
I know exactly that area. I know that area. I'll be driving past that area when I go down in August.
Well, if you stop off to a place, stop off in the Village. They have a little spot there with oysters, fattest, tastiest oysters you'll run into, and a good Chardonnay. But
I'd rather just have the Chardonnay. I'm not an oyster guy, but
oh yeah, we gobbled down these oysters, my son and I, while they were doing something. But that Rams Village that they're building out there.
Yeah.
I can see a practice field, but until there are a couple of restaurants that have still have leases out there. I think whatever PF Chang's and an Italian place that
Something
still
like that.
have leases haven't run out. When they run out, the Rams are going to take over that entire area.
Right.
And I
Never.
believe they bought out the village. Which I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple, 3 years, the rents that they may take over the queue for a lot of their players that where she lives. But that Rams,
Gonna go
they're
right, yeah.
creating one
Gonna go
hell
right.
of an impressive,
Yeah.
how do I want to call this? It looks like it's going to be a cross between a training camp and a Rams amusement park.
Jesus.
um,
Wow.
So that is the big thing that I saw going on in her neighborhood.
Wow.
Well, Stoner, I really, I think in September there's a chance we might spend a few days in New York City.
Nice.
But okay, LA isn't San Francisco. Nowhere is San Francisco, right?
Right. They got
But
that right.
each time I go to LA, I find more and more things to like about it. Oh, and here's the other thing. When I come back to Iowa, poor little benighted Iowa,
Right.
where the people here aren't too smart, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry to say so, but
if you say so.
I can tell what news sources people get because I've come back here when I talk about coming back from LA and I get a few people that say, oh my God, was it safe? Oh my God, is it, were there riots? I go, absolutely not. There was absolutely nothing. There were demonstrations, but they were peaceful. Hell, Ojai had three. Ojai is a small town. It had 3 demonstrations, right, against fascism.
Right.
And I said, no. I said, there's absolutely nothing to fear from demonstrators there, but they watch certain news outlets that had people back here believing Los Angeles was a total mess. I'm going,
Exactly.
No. I said, there are problems. The problem there, and it was palpable when I talked, because I would talk to people at the, and I would talk to people who generally spoke with strong accents, right?
Right.
And there's fear. There's deep fear. But it's not fear of rioters or it's not fear of protest. It's fear of their own government. People are afraid of the government. But that's the only thing going on in LA is fear. It has nothing to do with riots or demonstrations or, they're afraid of people just stealing people.
Okay. My question to you would be how the information gets to the people. So you have to remember this, and you're old enough to know back in the day with especially with protests, this and that, Kent State or whatever you want to call it. Wait a minute. People have been protesting for decades, Pops.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Now, when something happens and that certain information gets to the people, you're right. They could totally be misinformed. Kent State is probably a great example of that. What, you really need to shoot those students? No, you really need to open fire with real ammunition? Why couldn't you just use rubber bullets or something else? No, you went in there and you killed 4 people, Pops. They shot them dead.
Yeah.
4 people died right there.
Yeah. It was, but when we were in LA, I didn't see any problem with downtown LA when we went through there a couple of times. No, downtown LA was okay. We didn't go to Skid Row. Okay, we didn't go there. We were a couple blocks away at one point.
But Skid Row's always been that way. Even when times were good, Skid Row is still there. It's not. The poor are always going to be there. So even if good or bad,
as far as but there's fear out there. There is fear, but it's fear of the government.
Fear of what? Yeah, I was going to say fear of what? Oh, the government. Okay, here we go.
Fear of what did you say?
Yes, Pops. I said fear of what, and you said the government. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sarcastically, I'm like, all right, whatever, because everyone's always think they've been scared of the government. Why do you think we can't say fucking Nixon in front of certain individuals that I know, and all of a sudden they get all riled up, even though that was so long ago? Everybody's dead, but yet it still pisses people off.
Well, I'm one of them.
and you're the last of that generation, Pop, who
Yeah.
will still get pissed off of a president who died a long time ago and his service. And we have a lot more going on than him, but for some odd reason, you mention his name and everybody gets pissed off.
Yeah. It's just that, but you see, I'm old, so these things. Yes, at the airport with my family, I am worried about the people stealers and the kidnappers taking people like my wife or kids. I am worried about that. I saw them rush on an airplane, a Korean airplane, Korea Airlines airplane. I saw a bunch of them rush in and cause some kind of whatever. I don't know what the hell they were up to. But there is fear. And by the way, of course, that's what the government wants. It wants to make people afraid. It wants to show its power, and it doesn't mind rounding up innocent people because that gets everybody's attention. Uh, so it's just part of what it is. It's the age we live in. I'm old. I'm past really caring one way or the other because unless it affects my own family, uh, I'm at the age where, look, my days of being concerned about the future and about the country and everything um, is not, it's past my time. It's the younger people will figure it out. The younger people will sort it out. It's their future. It's beyond me. So I don't get passionate or wound up about it. I don't. I have a historical perspective. Um, I kind of get an idea of what's going on. But as far as being really you see, Stoner, that's more. You're not old enough that where the future still has a meaning for you.
I don't know
For
that, but well,
me, what's going on, the only thing that astonishes me in what's going on in the country, I mean, yes, there are, I have sympathy for people who are afraid, but on a wider thing, I don't understand why the government is so intent on giving the future to China as regarding technologies. For years, China stole our technology and they built their factories and became strong. Now China has the edge on us in like batteries, electric, windmills, the green tech. They have the advantage, and instead of cutting off from them, we should be doing what they did to us. We should be getting everything we can and making all kinds of deals with Chinese green things so that we can steal their advances because they're advanced on us now. And I don't. It's just if I had anything or a big concern for the future of the United States, it would be don't do that. Just we got to stay. They're better than us in this. We should steal from them. It's our turn to steal from them. It's
right, it's
our
our turn.
turn.
Right.
I mean, they stole from us. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They stole from us, stole us blind in a lot of ways. But now that they're ahead in certain technologies, let's steal from them. I just don't get that. I know of two very top rank Chinese scientists and mathematician types who are going back home because they think it's freer there and more secure, but they're taking with them incredible brains and ability to calculate equations to sort out these things. And we're losing them from here in Iowa, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
We don't need those people to go home. Stay here and let's steal from you guys. I know that's not right. I shouldn't. But you see, I'm old. That's the only thing I'm worried about in my old age is
Pop, let me just say this though. I'm 55 and I'm still young, but yet I'm now approaching what you are calling the old stuff. Even though I may be young, I'm not. I'm young, but I'm not. I'm old. I'm old, but I'm not young. Even though, because I know in your opinion, 55, 55 is young. I am young. I can still do stuff. I already know. I already know that in the next 10 years of my life, these are the last good 10 years where I can still join a softball league, let's just say, and still do something, okay? Now, when I turn 65, I don't know about, I mean, I'm not lying to you. Right now, I can play in a softball league. If you want, I can run the bases. I can do that. 55, no problem. Now it may not be the best, and I have to play in one of those leagues that it's 50 or older leagues, and I don't mind. And playing with other people, other guys who have big bellies and they're not in shape, but at least we want to get out there to play. I can still do that. Now, in 10 years from now, when I'm 65, I don't know. And I understand from 65 to 75, that's completely, you're entering another realm of your body and what your body can do.
I will
I
speak.
know.
Yes.
Go ahead.
When
I
I
know.
was
That's why I'm real quickly. That's why I was so impressed that the fact that you even made it down to the Life Magazine cave, because I know that trail, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm, and I thought to myself, I'm sure somebody helped him. I mean, had to, and your
Yeah.
son was there, obviously, which
Yeah.
is the perfect person to have you. So I was thinking to myself, there had to be somebody there to help him. Like,
But the only help I needed was that first step. As it turned out, I didn't know it at the time, but that's the only help I needed. And by the way, I could have made it sliding that step on my ass, right?
right.
I mean, I could have done it, but that was the only tricky part. My son did ask me about that trail back up to the Bruce Davis car, and I said, "Oh, you'd have to go to Ventura County and all of that." And because he remembers the video that you did of that trip. That's one of his top 5 favorite YouTube videos, by the way.
Is what? Wait, which? Oh, the one where I go to the
The car.
Yeah.
I don't know if you still have it up or not.
I think I do. I mean, I don't know if I do or not, but go ahead.
Every once in a while, when he's here, we'll find it and we'll just enjoy that video because you were so magnetic,
Well, thank you.
I in
appreciate
that video.
It.
But interesting, you say 55. On my 55th birthday, which would have been 19 years ago and a bit, the family put on a huge party for me. I hadn't retired yet. They had put on a huge 55th birthday, and I don't know exactly why. I remember it was a big deal. And I think partly there were 2 or 3 important people whom I had helped earlier in their lives. And there were a couple of them that were dying. They were younger than me. But I think that might have been part of the reason they threw this big, big party for me. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm only 55, folks. I'm not even retired yet. But that was a turning point for me, largely because they throw that huge party. And I'm trying to decide, I got some couple of bottles of great Armagnac and cognac. Anyway,
all right.
A couple of pieces of art that are just fine. But I thought to myself, okay, this is everybody telling me I'm on that downward slide. I didn't feel it. And frankly, I didn't feel it till I hit like 65, 66, 67. And then the last year has been horrible. The last year has just been one thing after another. And I have got, like, within a few weeks of each other, I ran into the thing that killed my father and then the thing that killed my grandfather. And when you have those 2 things on you within a few weeks, and it killed your dad and your granddad, you go, oh, crap, it's getting real now, right? You're not getting out of this one way or the other. But it wasn't until the last year. But from 55, yeah, you'll notice it, Stoner. You'll notice it. So enjoy what you can while you can. Because again, with my son, I was able to get out there. I had seen these other shows about, you don't want to be in the midday in California, whatever, in summer, but it was 90 degrees there is nothing. And it was, I was so impressed. My son, when he got down there with me, he said, my God, this is cool. This is beautiful. He absolutely fell in love with that little spot.
Well, it is. I mean, look, I know a lot of people think like, oh, it's evil, it's this. No, look, it really is beautiful. And there really is. Here's the thing. There's a massive temperature change from being on the I know you couldn't go on the top because it was overgrown, but if you were on the top there, let's just say it wasn't overgrown and you were able to walk on the top, oh my God, you'd be sweating your ass off because it'd be so hot. But as soon as you came down to Life Magazine Cave, it would drop like 15 degrees, 20. You're like, oh my God. It is. That's why they spend so much time down there, because as you can see, it kind of cones over like all the trees from the Life Magazine Cave to the Manton Rock. It kind of combs over and creates all that shelter, and it's actually nice and cool. It's actually very nice down there.
Yes, and I noticed the trees in Southern California. It takes a lot of them to get that pure canopy.
Yes.
Here in this part of the country, when a tree leaves out, you can get under that tree and the sun doesn't penetrate. You are in complete shade. I noticed the trees in Southern California tend to have a bit more sparse leaves. You get more speckled sunlight through
those trees right there are actually protected. Like, you know how there's Thousand Oaks? Like, if your daughter ever talked about Thousand Oaks, okay, oak trees are protected in California. You cannot touch one, cut one, or anything without calling like the county. They have to come out and assess the situation. You know, here's the funny part, Pops. I'm not bullshitting you. Say you own a piece of property and there's an oak tree on your property or the neighbor's property. It's really, really big. There's a storm. All of a sudden, a big, huge branch falls off of that tree onto your property. Now, you can't just go out there with the chainsaw and start cutting it. You can't do that. You have to call, because of the tree, you have to call, well, the county of, Woodland Hills or Thousand Oaks, and we have, where there's a storm here, and I have a large tree on my lawn, and they have to come out and they have to take care of it. Those trees are all protected. They really are. All those oak trees are all protected.
And those oak trees are absolutely beautiful.
Exactly.
I noticed several stands of them, and they were breathtaking. You know what was odd as we would drive along the roads, because my daughter was driving, so I was looking, was how the sticking out like a sore thumb are the non-native species of trees, palm trees. I mean, palm trees really are not native to that region. Right, and every once in a while, in the middle of nowhere, you'll see one or two palm trees that bird shit has probably deposited over the years. Right. And it's just so funny to see these palm trees in the just sticking out like a sore thumb that are just so foreign to the to that region. The flora of the region is breathtakingly beautiful. The grasses, the bushes, and then of course we were there the first week of spring, and the colorful flowers and the blossoming bushes. It's hard to find well, you know better than I do, but I think we were there at one of the great heights of
you were there the perfect time. Yeah, you were and Sadie would know this as well. You were actually there at the right time of the year where it exactly, Pops. And think about this really quickly. Think about this, Pops. Where you were standing and where your son took the picture of you, that's where Family Jams Day 1, 2, and 3 was. Right
I
there.
Knew it. Yeah.
Right there. And people, they all came down. Just like, you know how concerts in the park, you bring your own chair, you bring your own bottle of wine, your snacks, your wine, your cheese, your crackers, and you bring, and that's what it was. And we had people coming down that same trail with all their stuff, and they would sit there, and we had a band play in that cave, dude, a 3-piece band, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I showed my son's pictures of that, of those. I showed him pictures of that before we went in. I said, this is, and I explained to him, I said, well, it was easy to explain to him because he has an interest in true crime. There is an axe murder site here in Iowa that he's gone to 2 or 3 times, and the Lizzie Borden case out in Massachusetts.
Right.
I said to him, the Manson case is entering American history, like the Lizzie Borden case, like Jesse James, like the Lindbergh kidnapping. It's a part of our cultural heritage. Now, it still has a meaning to me because, as I've said to a million times, and I hate to admit it, I tend to interpret a lot of it, not all of it, but a significant measure of it, like Sandra Good does. And I'm not proud of saying that, but I say it a lot. But I can't escape the fact that when I hear her talk, there are parts of me that are open to what she says. I can't go all the way, but I can sure understand where she's coming from and appreciate it and have sympathy for it. And I think I've got that through to my son. My daughter, I don't think. My daughter, to her, living out there, the Manson thing is just weird. It's just,
But you have to understand.
Yeah.
You have to understand. A lot of people just don't like Pops, and this is where you have to split that. Is that you have to understand that not everybody's going to agree with what you believe in. I get it all the time. People are like, hey, why did you pick this? You're so good in the sports and football. Why couldn't you just do like a whole YouTube channel of just sports? Why does it have to be Manson? And I'm like, look, this is what helped me. This is what kept me out of prison for the last 14 years. This November 18th will be 14 years of me being on YouTube doing this. And it's actually helped me in my life. I can't say that the Manson case has helped anybody else. All I can speak for is myself, and it's helped me out, and it's kept me out of prison because I've had a problem with drugs and with going to prison. But ever since I became a person on YouTube, I'm not a YouTuber, by the way. I'm just a person. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I make no money on YouTube. This is my 5th channel, and but people yet know who I am. And yes, I've been recognized somehow in this Manson community, but hey man, I do my own thing. I still go to work.
Well,
but
yeah,
people have a problem with it, but I'm still who I am. This is what I do, and it's not what people think. So I'm not like I don't worship. I don't worship anybody except for maybe myself. No, just kidding. No, but I'm not like that, people. This is just something I do on YouTube. It's not it's not my life.
Well, you don't know it's worshiping people is
I don't worship anything.
that is worshiping pretty much anything is a mistake.
I don't worship anything.
Yeah, worshiping anything is a mistake. We can appreciate things, but we need to always evaluate. We need to need to be able to evaluate.
What you just said there was the best thing right there. You can appreciate things. What was that? You can appreciate things, but you have to evaluate.
You need to evaluate.
Right.
You need to have the power evaluation.
That is awesome right there. That is, wow, that's...
Yeah, that is, I think my son understands where I come from on this stuff.
Right.
And Lee, I see, well, I don't agree completely with Sandy Lee, but I'm surprised at how close I am I'm surprised that I find that she makes a lot of more sense than I think she should. Lynette kind of is out there a little bit, but Sandy is a deeply thoughtful person, and I certainly cannot get to where she's gotten to, but I can be quite a bit down the road with her until I stop. Put it that way. A little bit. It scares me sometimes. But this is, again, I go back to your, exactly. I go back to your guide, the videos I've seen, and it was straight, direct. There was not, son could tell you, I knew exactly where I was going as if I had been there before. I mean, I didn't have to backtrack. I didn't have to anything. The only backtracking had to do, there was somebody on the Santa Susana Road who was really on his tail real hard. And that's why, as we were getting by the ranch, he kind of went on past it because I was pointing out where it was. And then I explained to him that was public land. He didn't quite understand the nature of it, and I explained to him you'd have to go to Ventura County and enter through that Lily Lane or whatever it is. Um, uh, but I told him, no, this is public land. You don't have to worry about it. We're okay. And I told him, no, up that ridge. No, we don't go up there. We're not going to cross the creek, go up there. And no, we're not going to go over where the bridge is, where Frank Rats. And I said, no, we're not going to. We could stop for a moment where Shorty died. And we did. But I said, no, this is okay. I am assured by Stoner that it's all okay and we'll have no problem here. We might have to, somebody might confront us. We might have to explain, but you know, I've had to, I'm married, spent a lot of time explaining, right?
Exactly, Pops.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, but thank you so very much for your guidance, for your website, because I have followed this case since I think I was born almost the same time as, obviously as Steve Parent and as Ruth Ann Morehouse.
Right.
I was that age pretty much. And I was very aware because I delivered newspapers, so I read all the newspapers that I delivered. I knew what was going on.
But it was also your generation, and that was your president. Pops. That was your who was your president when you were 18 years old? Who was your president?
It was Nixon. I mean, exactly. I was born when Truman was president, but it was Nixon.
That's what I want to know. Who was your president? That's all I want to know. Who was your president?
Well, he was the president. I was in the streets quite a bit back then. I'm no stranger.
Hey, Bob, you remember the very first time you ever voted?
Oh yeah.
You remember the very first time?
It was against Nixon, that's for sure.
Was it one of those ones where you pulled a lever? Was it like that thing? Yeah.
The old style pull. It really was. It really was.
Yeah.
It was the pull the lever. Wow.
Oh yeah. And Nixon. It was. I'll tell you this. I spent a lifetime demonstrating. I'm not like a professional demonstrator, not like one of those. But when there are demonstrations around in central, South Iowa, East Iowa, over the years, I've generally been to them. I have never, ever once had a moment where I was afraid of my fellow demonstrators.
Right.
I have had moments when I was afraid of the people in uniform around us.
Exactly. Why would you be afraid of the same people that are doing the same thing that you're doing?
I have never had that. It's I've seen blood, but it was not spilled by any of the people.
So, Pops, you've never been pepper sprayed. You've never been shot with rubber bullets.
Not with a rubber bullet, pepper spray, tear gas. Yeah.
Tear gas. Okay.
Or maybe it's tear gas, not. But anyway, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. We were tear gas. Okay.
Yeah. You run out with you. But I've only seen blood once, and it was not shed by one of our people. I mean, it was shed by them, but it wasn't inflicted by a protester.
Where did you see the blood?
It was inflicted by a guy in a uniform. So I don't have any problem. I've never had any problem, even at my age. Hell, our small town had more than 250, close to 300 people out for the No Kings demonstration. Believe it or not.
Pops, do you think your town is more famous for those demonstrations or for the Buddy Holly fucking crash?
Well, our town is hundreds of miles away from a couple hundred miles away from that. Our town is famous for really nothing.
Okay.
We have one world kind of sports lighting company, but
you guys were all into the whole Caitlin Clark thing before she went to the WNBA. Remember that?
Oh, we still are. Oh, we still.
Yeah,
I've seen Caitlin Clark.
I
Clark's.
remember that. I
I've
remember that
seen her
part.
play. I've seen
We
her play
talked
about
about that
3 times.
on the show.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah,
seen
we
her play
talked about
about 3 times. She's amazing.
Yeah, before she
Um,
even went to the WNBA, I remember us
Yeah.
talking about that before she even went to the goddamn
yeah,
WNBA. But we knew she was going to go there, so yeah, of course. And now, yeah,
yeah. Our little town is quiet. It's poor. It's poor for the area, but it's hanging on. We have a couple of large. We have one very large corporate sponsor that is run by some fairly decent people. In fact, the daughter of the richest man in town,
Oh
she's a
God,
judge.
right? What's going on with that?
She I want to say this. She helped
What?
organize the demonstrations,
Really?
and
How?
she hired photographers to cover them for positive, not for the authorities. The authorities were around taking pictures. Yeah, you could tell that. The authorities were, but she put together a couple of commercials about, because she's rich, about in a positive light, the demonstrations here. And she comes from, like I say, she's the daughter of the wealthiest man in town. They were, I mean, huge Republicans, but they're Republicans in the old sense. Their family traces back to the founding of the Republican Party in the 1850s, and their family were anti-slavery, pro. They were against the treason of the 1860s, and they were instrumental in the earliest civil rights laws in Iowa. So they're a different. They're Republican. They're from that group, but they're certainly, well, they're disturbed by what's happening. Let's leave it at that.
Right.
I was totally shocked because I went up to this kid, this photographer, and a couple of 2 or 3 people with professional stuff.
Right.
Because I asked them, "What in the heck is going on? Why are you taking pictures?" And he was open. He said, so a couple of days later, I sought out this woman on this town square, and I said, "Is this true? Did you?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah." She said, "Our family is quietly supporting all the demonstrations around here." I said, "Oh, okay, that's cool," and I walked away. But but they're old fashioned. They're old fashioned civil rights, Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt. They're that kind of people.
Right.
And it kind of surprised me. I get along with her dad. He's like 80 years old. He and I get along quite well, although we haven't always. I spent 9 years on the local school board, and he and I got into some really nasty.
Well, when you're on the school board, I can see that.
Oh yeah, we got into some really nasty stuff over property issues. But still, in a small town like this, we've always been able to communicate and get along well. Well, he's another left-hander, right? What can you say?
Right.
Anyway, Stoner, no, I had a wonderful trip. Your state is absolutely brilliant. It is a great place to go. People back here think California is some kind of a hellhole. And while there are moments, yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, let me just say this about California, in defense of California, because I live here. Okay, well, they say it's a hellhole. Okay, now, I will admit that San Francisco is not San Francisco that it used to be. It's not the same. Yes, it's. I feel bad for San Francisco because that's actually one of my favorite cities, but it's not anywhere near there. As far as LA goes, okay, look, the thing about the whole thing with the riots and everything. Here's the funny part, and it was all contained in like 2 or 3 block area. So
what your people are seeing, okay, what the people of Iowa are seeing, they make it seem like it's the whole city when really it's a really small contained area, and they're having problems in just this one area, and this is all it is. And guess what? Other people are still going to work. If you don't
Yeah.
think people are still, if you don't think people are still going to work, well, that's going on.
The
You gotta
last
remember,
time we were in LA, we spent a lot of time right in that
you have to remember,
tiny area.
Pops, but think about this: they're targeting one specific race, and that's the Mexican race. Now, LA has more than just Mexicans in it. We have a lot of white people, black people, Asians, all kinds of different, besides the Mexicans, which seems ICE is that they are the ones targeting, but other people still have to go to work who are not illegal. There are plenty of people here who are not illegal, who are from other countries. It just seems they're just targeting the Mexicans. It just seems, I don't know if that's, if you want to call it unfair or whatever, but yes, you don't see them going into Koreatown or Chinatown or any other or the black neighborhood. We're going to take all the blacks away. We're going to take all the Asians away. No, they're targeting the Mexicans. Let's just
Yeah,
call it what
it's the thing that makes me so upset with friends of mine who are liberals. I have liberal friends who get so upset about it all, and they say it's not fair, it's not right, it's not, they shouldn't be racially profiled, they shouldn't be doing this or that, they shouldn't be. And I say to them,
No.
how silly can you be? This is what a police state does. You don't get it. It is meant to be unfair. It is meant to be focused. It is meant to instill fear in certain populations. This is what police states do. This is the nature of police states. This is what we've become, for better or for worse. And I just get so mad at my liberal friends who seem to be shocked by it and seem to think they're scandalized. And I say, no, that horse left the barn a long time ago. This is what we are now. This is the nature of our culture now. This is what our country has become. And it didn't happen overnight. And you can't blame Donald Trump. He is kind of a visual, but it's been going on for a long time, and it's reached where it has. And these liberals get so upset, and they clutch their pearls. Oh my God, this is wrong. This is illegal. This is unfair. I said, Jesus, you don't understand what a police state's all about. It's all about those things. You just have to learn to accept it. You have to, or if you're going to oppose it, you have to find effective ways to try to oppose it without, getting into a serious amount of trouble. But maybe I'm too old and I've lost, whatever it is. But I just get so angry at liberals who are upset about it. And of course, it's easy for me to say because I'm not Mexican. I'm not, I suppose. But I know that I fear every time. I fear for my wife and children every time we go through an airport line. Because everybody comes up to them and speaks Spanish to them.
Right.
They don't know, they're not. There's fear every time. But, fear is that's what the authorities want to instill in people. This is what we have. And I don't know why these liberals are so upset about it. I, honest to God, don't understand about why they're upset, why they're shocked. It didn't happen overnight, and you can't just blame Trump. You just can't blame him. He's an easy target. 34 felonies. I think he's a lot ahead of you, Stoner.
Scapegoat. You're right, Pops.
Yeah. He can't own a gun in most places. Let's face it.
I can't own a gun either, man.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, he certainly can't. But anyway, I just loved your state. I loved my time out there. I love the air. I love the sky. I love the ground. And the food and the wine. Oh my God, the wine. Oh.
California wine, very good. Yes, we are right up there with France, Paris, whatever. California, I will admit, California is right up there with the wine and everything. All right,
Pops. gonna call it quits. You are look, pops. Look, let me just say this.
You haven't been on the show in a while. I'm so glad you came on here. Thank you so much, man. I love having you on here. Look, I'm so glad that you got to go down to Spawn Ranch. All I wish in that trip was I just wish I could have just met you down there, or maybe even Sadie down there, just like just somebody
I
that I
didn't
know.
even know when I was going to make it. It
I
was
know,
just
I know, I know,
spur
I
of the
know.
moment thing.
But I'm glad you made it down there. When I saw that picture, I was like, wow. And then hold on, let me play the picture. Let me show the picture. We have the picture. This picture right here. When I saw this, man, I was just like, wow, he made it, man. That's fucking incredible. He actually made it to that point, man. So yeah, I'm glad you made it, pops. I'm really glad, man. That's awesome.
I'm
man.
glad I did too. It was a wonderful afternoon.
Awesome,
And thanks to you, Stoner. Thanks to you.
Well, thanks, man. All right, pops. I'm
Take
gonna
care.
get going here. All right, you take care, my friend. Man, love you so much, man. Love you so much, Dr. Pops. You come on the show anytime you want, man.
Thank you,
All right.
sir. Bye.
Hey, no problem, my friend. All right, people. We're gonna end it right there. Stonerman Hunter. We are. What is it? It's 8. Shit, goddamn, dude, we're late tonight, man. It's fucking it's late. But anyway, one more song, and then we are done for this evening. All right, people. Take care.
Sorry, I interrupted.
Go ahead. Let's on this one.
Are your lights flickering? Because mine are. I was just wondering.
I have no idea because I've not been inside, but
The power's well, you're still getting some like it's still being like weird with your power. You don't have like
the lights are just flickering. I have power, but it's just the lights are flickering. So I was just wondering
I don't know.
if there was a reason for that. If yours were.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea at the phone. I'll check out. I'll let you know though.
Okay, thanks.